I'm John Batchelor. Mary Kissel, the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal and the host of Opinion Journal, is here. We're going to New York, where there are political contests now in abeyance that are hard to believe. Mary and I have discussed the two candidates, the leading candidates for mayor and controller before, but all the parts fit together in New York. It's a very big town that's a very little town, and we have a police commissioner, Raymond Kelly, who is the success of the 12 years of the Bloomberg administration. Raymond Kelly is responsible for the safety, for the confidence of the people of Manhattan and the boroughs. Ed Hayes, my consigliere, who knows the story of the NYPD very well. Ed, a good evening to you. Raymond Kelly is not only a success in New York, it is now openly discussed that he is an excellent candidate for Homeland Security, now opened up with the departure of the former governor of Arizona, who now goes to be leading the University of California system. Do you believe Raymond Kelly wants to go to Washington? Would he leave New York for...
Well, I think that he's on his way out in New York no matter what happens, because either Quinn or Weiner are going to get rid of him, and I think that he'd probably like to go out before you have some kind of decision that a stop-and-frisk policy has been unconstitutional and racist, which is very likely because I think the judge that's hearing it has already made up her mind. Secondly, it's a bigger job. Thirdly, which is not something to laugh at, it probably pays better, and it would certainly be he was a colonel in the Marine Corps. He was the New York City Police Commissioner, and it would cap off his career.
Christine Quinn, Anthony Weiner, these are local New York politicians. They may not be familiar, Eddie, yet to the rest of the country.
Thank God.
Eddie.
It's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Thank goodness. Eddie, what do they have against Ray Kelly? What's the big beef?
The big thing is the stop-and-frisk policy, because the stop-and-frisk policy has become a complete demon to the minority community. And regardless of the fact that it seems to be most protective of the minority community, they really resent it. So I think that they want to get rid of him. If you're going to get the minority vote, you got to indicate you're going to get rid of him. Plus, he's been there a long, long time, and there's a certain time when everybody outstays their
All right, Raymond Kelly to Homeland Security. We'd welcome that. It's a question of whether he wants to fly around the country and take on the added responsibility of a vast department. They're building it right now in Washington. One part of it, I think, just the Coast Guard itself is this large campus being built against a bank of the river. Eddie, I want to come back to New York because Mr. Weiner is a disgraced, resigned member of Congress. Mr. Spitzer is a disgraced, resigned governor of New York.
And they're both creepy,
yes.
John. They're
and
both creepy.
Christine Quinn, on the other hand, is not disgraced, is not resigned, is a hardworking member of the city council. And of these three political actors, right now, the only one who's not doing well in the polls is Christine Quinn. So, Eddie, I ask you, don't tell us. Don't tell New York. Tell the rest of the country, quite curious about us. What is going on with New York, Eddie? Disgraced and resigned politicians who have embarrassed their constituencies, they've violated the trust that voters have in them. How are they leading in polls?
Well, the big problem in New York, obviously, that Mary has decided not to run for mayor. And if she had decided, she would probably be elected by a landslide. It seems like nobody wants the job, really. I mean, Spitzer and Weiner, let's be honest, they're ridiculous. I mean, Weiner, I think, is worse than Spitzer. I mean, at least Spitzer sort of he may have behaved stupidly, but at least he had some kind of normal...
That's a tough comparison, Eddie.
Right, but Weiner was just a weirdo.
And he's married very well.
He's married well.
And he's connected to the Clintons.
Right.
And he's also
still a weirdo. I don't care who he's married to.
Eddie, doesn't it say something about the Democratic Party in New York that it's so corrupt and it's so entrenched that
unimaginative.
Not corrupt. I didn't really.
Unimaginative.
Yeah, that's
it's
my
euphemism.
Word. That's our euphemism.
Yes.
Eddie, doesn't it say? Isn't the lesson here that young, energetic Democrats in New York don't see a future in the party? And that's why you're left with these two creepy guys and this one very, very, very unlikable lady.
Well, really it's an intelligent thing to say, Mary. I mean, I think that the Democratic Party in New York there's been so little competition over the years. They really basically have gotten very soft, and they don't have any original ideas. So both Weiner and Quinn are not exactly original ideas. So there's a point to what you're saying. I mean, and in a national context, New York is pretty much has not had the same kinds of reforms or accountability that the rest of the country's had. You get elected to the New York State legislature, you stay there forever.
The loser here, just with the last minute we have, looks to be the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo. With Weiner and Spitzer commanding all the tabloid headlines, how does Cuomo get attention?
Cuomo is so much more competent and admirable than they are.
What? He hasn't done anything, Eddie. Come on.
Listen,
name one thing this guy. Oh, jeez, Eddie, this guy is terrible.
Remember, if we scratch Eddie long enough, we come up with a very good Democrat, Mary. Very good. Ed Hayes, Mike Consigliere, Ray Kelly to Washington, New York's loss. That'd be Washington's gain. I don't know why you'd want to be a member of the federal government, though, because all it is grief, especially with an organization that's still being constructed, Homeland Security. Weiner and Spitzer are leading. We're not misleading you. When Anthony Weiner is the mayor of New York, it is a new day. Mary Kissel, the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal, and the host of Opinion Journal at 1 p.m. I'm John Batchelor.